What's up guys, it's Michael here. In this video, we're going to talk about how you can use business credit cards to your own advantage. So before I get into it, you first got to understand that there are normal credit cards and there are ones used for business. So to understand this, there's a lot of videos out there talking about the top 5 credit cards or top 10 credit cards. And I'm not going to get into it. I'm going to get into what a lot of other videos mention and what you have to be careful of, because most people mentioning in there, that can get you in a lot of trouble. So first, you got to understand the word business credit card. It's not your normal credit card, which you used to use for everyday transactions. There's a reason why it's called business and credit card, straight up. There's another word for it. So you can understand that a lot of people, when they mention it, say you can apply for business credit card by doing these couple of steps. Like, for example, using your social security, and the preferred method is using your EIN. So when you use that, you apply that, it makes it easier. And I'm not getting to the steps of it, but the main point is, the key takeaway is business credit cards give out a lot more points and it's a lot more beneficial. And a lot of people think it's very hard to get it, which is actually further from the case. Getting a business credit card, it's a lot easier than it thinks. But here's the kickback. This is where the gray zone comes in. You can use business credit cards for personal transactions, non for business too. But it is highly not recommended. A lot of people said, I never got caught, I never get audited, because they never worked in the tax field. If you are an EA or enrolled agent or a CPA or an accountant, you will understand that when you get these type of clients, you got to let them know. Because first of all, yes, your chance of getting audited by IRS is very low, but the problem is, if you do get audited, you are in one heck of a lot of trouble. Meaning is, they will flag you for the next couple years, and the duration of years is unknown. Like, they can say they could flag you for this specific year, for this tax return, because you're right now trying to write off transactions. For example, you go out to purchase like clothing from Louis Vuitton, and your business has to deal with plumbing. Then how does that relate? Because first of all, you cannot treat it that people will not look at your returns when you submit them. They look at it. People who work there understand there's a lot of people who are trying to cheat the tax code. And the whole point is, you don't want to cheat the tax code. You want to use it to your advantage. And of course, using a business credit card is one of the major ways how a lot of people, and of course in schools don't talk about it, but you can rack up a lot of points when purchasing items. For example, you purchase food, you go out to restaurants, you go on to meet clients, as I mentioned before, use a business credit card. And I mentioned in a previous video, when you get a receipt, you write down who and where did you go to this restaurant. So you're going to a restaurant, why did you meet this person? What's this person's name? Why did you meet them? What is it used for? When you put down and keep transactions receipts like that, which a lot of people apparently don't do when they use those credit cards, when they come to audit, because eventually there'll be a case and point in time, even like your accountant think using a business credit card, or you do this purchase, looks legitimate. Sometimes the people working on the other side at audit and IRS don't find this transaction legitimate. And when they come back and question you, they can go ask for that receipt. And let's look at a couple cases. For example, you went to go to like a Starbucks and you spend $1,000 in Starbucks. And you're asking me, how's that even possible? Yes, I have seen that before. And at the same time is, if they spend $1,000 Starbucks, let's say when you submit your return, the IRS comes back and they look at the transaction. Why are you trying to write off $1,000 in Starbucks? You never go to Starbucks and spend that much money. Then let's say they decide to flag that transaction and they come back and say, hey, this is not right here. I think this should be personal expense. So when you have a receipt, a physical copy, and you submit it to them, it really basically erase most of their doubts, saying that what you use is for personal business, personal expense instead of for business. So, but here's the kicker. If you don't have the receipt, there's a couple of options that they could do. They could choose another transaction, or they can go directly to that Starbucks that you did that transaction from. If they cannot figure it out, then they'll go to another transaction. But if they do know where that Starbucks is, they will directly call them directly and ask for that specific transaction. So you got to keep in mind, they have the power to do that. And looking at certain YouTubers, they said, oh, I like to commingle my bank accounts with the business bank account. Because when you open a business credit card, you'll get something called a business bank account. When you have a business bank account, there's a reason why there's something called a business bank account and one called a personal account. And there's a couple big YouTubers And I wish they spoke with their CPA before making that statement, because I think it's really risky when you combine a personal account with a business bank account. There's a reason why they're separate in the first place. So you keep one for personal transactions only and one for business transactions only. You don't want to commingle them. If you which unfortunately the bank allows it, because there's a lot of loopholes. They think a lot of gains for it, because some people don't want to like manage how many transactions. Personally, if you're getting to run a business, you have to learn how to manage transactions in the first place. So to keep in mind, when you buy things for business, you have to justify what is it used for your business. Like I mentioned, if you work as a plumber, you start buying like designer clothing, you have to justify it. If you're a lawyer, this is another great example. I want to buy designer clothing. Then you're a lawyer and you're not running a business and you have a business credit card. Now, why do you want to write that off? How does it relate? Maybe, for example, I give 2 examples here how this could work. The first one will not work. For example, I want to buy designer clothing like Louis Vuitton, Hermes, Birkin for my company, but I am an employer. Even you're an owner. So I just want to wear it just to like, oh, go meet clients and stuff. They will not buy it because it's not part of Section 162. Here's example number 2. I go to the same store, designer clothing. I buy that clothing, and then I have my name brand on there. I have my name on there. I have my company on there. Embed it into the clothing. Let's assume that Hermes, Birkin, or like Louis Vuitton will embed your name in there with the logo LV. Then, when they flag that transaction, for example, couple $1,000 clothing, when they flag that transaction, you can go tell them like, hey, the reason why I bought this clothing for this business because I wanted my name on there and it's used for meetings and events. Keep in mind, you cannot do this every single time because they will know that something's really fishy. But like you do it the first couple times and you can prove it's actually used for your business, because you don't have to own a business to use a business credit card, because you can apply for EIN. But personally, when you get a business credit card, you should set up some type of business. So it could be a sole proprietor, LLC, the list goes on for those. I'm not going to get into those, but what I want to break down is when you use your business credit card, keep it, try to no personal transactions, and try to keep it business related. This is how a lot of people who use business credit cards rack up a lot of points and make a lot of money. And of course, there's certain YouTubers that talk about, oh, I can use it for personal expenses. You generally don't want to do that. Yes, a lot of people do abuse that because you can't prove it. But the problem is once you get caught once and you get flagged, it's gonna be there for records. That means when each time you file your tax returns, whoever takes a look at tax returns, they'll put a note underneath your name and say, hey, this person tried to do this, and this before. And they'll pay more close attention. So it's better to do and file your taxes correctly the first time than regret it later on and being flagged by the IRS. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys understand what's the difference between business credit cards and personal credit cards. And personally, even like I'm making this video, I think you guys should still apply for a business credit card, because at the end, a business credit card, as they mentioned in other channels, it has a lot of points you can rack up. There's a lot, if you run a business, even your business don't make money, you can actually use that right off as a business expense. So business credit cards have a lot of power compared to regular credit cards. And if you start making like income for your business, then you can start justifying it. You go out to eat, you can start justifying it. Because you can look at, for example, good example will be Tesla. Tesla didn't make money in the first years of their company. So imagine all the transactions they're swiping in. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. And of course, they have no income coming, so they write it off as a loss because they have no money coming in, and they're projecting they're gonna have money coming in later down the line. So that's like one way you can do it. But keep in mind that using business credit cards, there are benefits and there are basically negatives too. And as I mentioned, the negatives is personally try to keep all your personal transactions in your personal credit card or your personal finance within your personal bank account. And I highly do not recommend that. Some people say, I like to merge bank accounts because keep it more simple. If you're getting to that point, you should have 2 separate accounts and keeps it for 2 separate transactions. So if they come and question you, or you send it to your accountant, they ask for your bookkeeping. For example, they need a list of transactions, your bank statement, your credit card statement, and make it a lot easier for you and easier for them to manage your transactions. Because first of all, if you ever get audited and they need your bank statements, your accountant needs your bank statements, or you speak with your CPA, you need your bank statements, your credit card statements, they will charge you more when you find out you commingle your funds together in your business bank account, combining personal expense and business expense. Then they have to sift through all that garbage, and of course, time is money. So For example, a CPA could charge around $250 an hour. And if you make it really difficult to them by commingling all the funds and smacking into one transaction, like your personal bank account, your personal statements, and imagine you mix that up with the business one, your statement's gonna be massive for all the transactions you have. And when you have that, you cost them time and it'll cost you more money. So keep in mind, do your due diligence, speak with your accountant, and personally, you guys should click the subscribe button down below and a like button. But out of all seriousness, I hope you guys have a great day and understand that business credit cards and normal credit cards, there are two different categories and there are two different ways you should treat them. And treat them with respect and treat them how you should file your taxes and make it easier for yourself and your accountant. So I'll see you guys next time. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Peace.